So they'll be calling you a radical. So this is, you sure that it's sulfur? You sure that the gas that's coming out of Fukushima, Japan, out of the volcano, you sure that's the evacuation, what that gas is? You know, as I call it, Del Mar syndrome, Del Mar, Argentina, is being pushed in. Fukushima's been pushed. Now let's get to this, how contaminated Hawaii is. Now I'm going to get into this. Now hang with me, this is important. I've been working on a series with a couple other professors and some investigative journalists about the most corrupt place in the world, this university, Weber State University, Weber County, hardcore corruption. And I've been working on a whole series. I'll be getting it out soon. Me and some other investigative journalists are working on this. This is big stuff, what's going on, corruption here. So, but anyway, it's back to the Hawaii nightmare. So, I have contacted all these people multiple times on the Fukushima dynamic. So stay with me. The young congressman-elect, 39 years old, Mark, in Hawaii. I've talked to his office. I talked to him. They hush up about Fukushima. I've used the karma word on all these guys multiple times. It's very real. Died of cancer this year. So let's talk about the Whale Watching Foundation in Maui. I've talked about that collapse, and I've went at it with him for post-Fukushima. In Maui, he sadly got brain cancer this year at 51, died of cancer. So Susan from Egghead, from Cal Davis, that I did work with before, and her and I argued about her research, why she won't put it out. One of her students leaked it out to Egghead. Those tide pool videos, as I was doing it, those before and after, that's one of her students. I argued with her. I said, this is karma. Brain cancer this year, dead. So it gets better, worse, I should say, horrible. So, by the way, I'm meeting one of the famous surf photographers just called me from California. He's on his way here, who said, we used to watch your videos on the beach, Kevin. He taught at Malibu. He was a famous surf photographer. He's coming up to meet me, to see me. He got testicular cancer, and he says, my doctor says, do you know about Fukushima? Surfer science. He says, I didn't know about Fukushima until my doctor told me. His niece just died at Malibu from leukemia, sadly. So the famous so-called marine biologist in Oregon that he and I have gone at it for years, this summer got cancer, dead of cancer, just boom, like this, bang, 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 bang. So you know I've been going at the Hawaii senator-elect and all these senators, and karma, 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 including Mark Lee right there in that room. My dad was a down under. I'm like, well, I still have hope for you, Mike. Come on. You know, which I wish he'd break ranks and get on my team, but he hasn't, and he won't. They're toting the line, just like Governor Herbert. His father died of leukemia. You know, they don't care. Barack Obama's mother was a downwinder, died at 52. They don't care. These are narcissistic, self-indulgent, this county commissioner that the corruption's going on. Her mother died. Look at my next door neighbor. They don't care. These people are all in self-indulgence. They think they're above it all. So, this is breaking. The senator-elect, we had hope for her when she became the United States Senator in 2012 from, she was the Congresswoman in Hawaii, born and raised at Fukushima, Japan. Now this just broke out a few months ago. She's been diagnosed with liver cancer. I went at her office over and over and over and tried to get her to tell me, tried to get her to answer to me what she would do about the Fukushima diet. She was born and raised in Fukushima. Nothing. 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 So she's got liver cancer. So the plume that's coming out in Hawaii right now in the volcano, this is one of them. She's a criminal. They're all criminals up here. They mess with the wrong dude here. So, there he is. That's one of the biology professors right there. So the plume that's coming up in Hawaii right now, what's really in it? What is really in it? You tell me what's in it. So Fukushima's been pushed into the biosphere for 7 years now. He's a biologist, but right there. Both of them are. They won't speak to me. They won't speak to me. They're in Fukushima denial of the attempt. Why? Because this is University of General Electric. Come on. They built the reactors of Fukushima, Japan. Do you know about Fluor Construction? F-L-U-O-R. That's Utah Construction. That's General Electric. That's the Wattises. I taught at the water school business. They've gone corrupt. High noon. Oh, they all know about me. You know. In the name of Fawn McKay Brody, who did all her work right here. The youngest female professor in the history of the state of Utah. No one even close. The dean of history at UCLA. The youngest female dean in the history of the country. Maybe the first from this university. Blackballed. They won't even speak her name to this day. The greatest freaking alumnus who ever walked into this place. Oh, they won't speak her name, but they'll give awards to people under police investigation. Something rotten in the Denmark. They screwed up this time. I just left the Alumni Center. I said, really? You awarded a guy under police investigation who's been labeled as the greatest climate change denier who didn't even go to this school, the presidential award? Oh yeah, it's a fact. It'll be breaking. You'll see it. We're working on it. I mean, it's outrageous. Politically motivated to the 10th power. I mean, that's against university charter. So, in Hawaii, I'll list all these lists. Karma is very real. She has liver cancer. The young congressman, they wouldn't say a peep. They all zipped up. Wyden used to talk to me all the time about Fukushima. He went to Fukushima. He won't even know emails on. They classified my emails. They classified my work. Now remember, this is important. Stay with me. Why they went after me, it's been proven that they hired PR firms. They hired trolls. You notice how they've gone away all of a sudden? Because people have been going at him. You know you're committing felonies against this guy. I was given 2 months to live, full of AML leukemia. I've been in critical condition most of the entire 6.5 years. And if you don't believe me, you go to the freaking bone marrow transplant center and you go to the top of LDS and you ask the doctors. Go ask these doctors around here. Go ask every one of them. I was given no chance to live. Freaking with AML sucked up to 119 fucking pounds. My aortic valve failed and I had freaking emergency open heart surgery. They attacked me while I was in the ICU unit. Those are hardcore felonies. I just recently came out of emergency gallbladder surgery because they wouldn't do the gallbladder surgery because I got kicked off Medicaid while under treatment. Now, remember this. I got kicked off treatment when Mike Lee sent all the money back in his idealistic stand against Obamacare. This is important. Stay with me. John Huntsman Sr., one of the richest men on earth, was outraged. They took all single males, just the broad brush wiped them out, including me. Right as I was due to have my gallbladder taken out because the chemo had wore out my gallbladder. The doctor refused to do it because I become uninsured. I exhausted all my money in this fight. I had a lot of money. I had to sell it off to get in. I was wiped off, kicked off Medicaid. Wouldn't do it. And I says, good, I'll do it holistically. My doctor, Fimbo, says, you're going to have an episode. So my aortic valve failed from the chemo. I was born with a heart defect, but the chemo wore it. We knew it. No one would treat me. LDS kicked me out. Everybody kicked me out because I ran out of money and I was uninsured and I was uninsurable. It's still that way in the state of Utah to this day. So John Huntsman Jr. goes crazy, Senior. He says, that's it. He was so pissed. He says, they're kicking our own money back. He made statements all over, one of the richest men in the world. He says, we're going to go after Mike Lee and we're going to take his seat. Well, that would be John Huntsman Jr., right? Nobody dares touch him in this state. I'll tell you what, he could run for anything he wants, be elected overnight. He's a god in this state. He's the ambassador in Russia. Oh yeah, he was in China. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's Mike Lee's campaign manager. When they're supposed to be politically polar opposites. Something rotten. I mean, this is all politically motivated. I mean, what's going on? They've got control of these useful idiots. The academia, corporations, media is all in on this cover-up of Fukushima. But the only thing we have left is karma. So, I went to the Ogden Regional Medical Center. Bleeding profusely, videos all over. I mean, just my teeth are going black. I went to the hygienist up here. I mean, I'm trying everything. Hey, it's my heart, my heart. Nobody will touch me. They won't even touch me. I go into the emergency rooms twice at Ogden Regional. A guy named Michael Hawkins represented to me. He was a doctor. He was not a doctor. He was a chiropractor. Apparently that's legal in Utah. So the nurse comes in. She says, oh my God, it's Kevin. I remember you. Do you remember me? I was one of your nurses in the bone marrow. Yeah. She told him that. He says, oh, I ran the test. There's nothing wrong with you. Didn't even clean the blood up off me. Kicked me out of there, told me to go see my dentist. I collapsed a couple days later in my yard. Failed aortic valve. Went in emergency surgery. They says, I never seen a aortic valve so collapse or whatever. And I told them that story, you know, but you can't sue them here. Seriously. They're all in. It's a club. It's all in. So, open heart surgery. So while I'm in the ICU, videos doing it, you know, I got my daughter shooting videos, I got me shooting videos, I'm posting them because they have pretty good Wi-Fi at the hospital. And, you know, it was a doctor, when I got in there, Dr. Stagg, who knew me. Thomas Blanch is the famous doctor who saved everybody's lives, who invented all these surgeries. They all know me. You know, he knew me. You know, he told me, kick this can, you know. I come from this family. He's like, oh, Kevin. I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my God. And I told him the whole story. He says, I'll get you in. So Collado got me in. He's like, holy emergency. Dr. Connor saved my life. Dr. Vincent Hansen saved my life. Thank God for those guys. Once I got in, it's the administrators. It's not the doctors. It's not, by the way, the police force is not corrupt around here. They're fantastic. They'll tell you, we know all the corruption. It's political. It's all political. It's the Mormon Church. It's political. I mean, this is all political, and now the universities are in on it. It's something rotten in the new Denmark. So, this year, because they wouldn't take my gallbladder out because I was uninsured and I'm out of money because I've exhausted my money traveling around the world trying to fight the nuclear industry, trying to stay alive. You know, San Onofre, I walked the coast of California, dying of leukemia. Everybody thought I'd die. I didn't die. Platelet count of 30s. In critical condition the whole fucking time. The entire time, critical condition. People that have known me, they says, God, you just bleed, you know. My daughter's like, too sick for a bone marrow transplant. So I had emergency gallbladder surgery, and I got in again. I mean, just, whoo, it went again. I get in there on a Sunday morning. One of the doctors in there, he's like, oh, it's the old Weber State professor. I said, yeah. You remember me? And I said, yeah. He says, you're the best professor I ever had. I was an adjunct professor. I was a student professor when Clyde Cooley died of mad cow. The last letter of recommendation of his is in here. I put up a whole series of this because this is literature. It's a book, the modern day, because I don't have a publisher. This is all I have is a $40 YouTube camera. But that's all I need. The YouTube camera is mightier than the sword. He's like, oh, I'm going to get you in and save you. They had me in emergency surgery so fast, make your head spin off. The girl who actually did the ultrasound, it was one of my therapists coming out of open heart surgery, AML leukemia survivor. She said, oh my God, Kevin, I 18-year-old in primary children for 4 years. I mean, us AML leukemia survivors, we're like magnets. We find each other all over the world. Us cancer, we stick up for each other. We got each other's backs. Thank God for that old student of mine. They stripped everything from me because they flipped philosophies. You don't believe me? I'm going to post a link. Do not go see the Dalai Lama. That's the professor right there. They don't even rank in the top 500. When I was here, Clyde Cooley was here, #1 undergraduate program in the country, 9 consecutive years. As soon as we got our MBA, he got mad cow and died. Whole philosophy's flipped. You know, the whole country's philosophy's flipped. Academia's captured. It's all political theater. It's all corruption. And everybody goes along, and I want to say this. She's gone along. She was born and raised in Fukushima, Japan. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, she knows. She's gone along. I've went to her office. Come on, please. And I've been very cordial with all these people. You know, you got that email from the Army Corps Engineers from me the other day. I talked to that guy. He said, I sent that email 4 years ago. Now it's been unclassified. And it says right on it, classified, now unclassified. Why was my emails classified? I'm in critical condition with a YouTube camera fighting for my life, trying to report on Fukushima. And I mean, they blocked all my emails from inside Japan. The young congressman, I talked to him. You know, come on, make a statement about Fukushima. Dead of cancer at 39 years old. You know, 51 years old, brain cancer. I mean, everybody's gone along with the freaking winning. I'm blown away. Look, it doesn't care. Cancer's very real, the epidemic in Hawaii. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to list all these links of all these people that died. You know, Herd Egghead. I mean, the Berkeley, I mean, that was one of her students that leaked those before and after pictures out on the dead tide pools when I was walking up the coast in 2015 that I didn't. That's all my work. She refused. I mean, these people will go down with their golden handcuffs. The nuclear industry owns them. They bought lock, stock. They've lock, stock, barrel bought Oregon State University, MIT, Michigan. Lastly, Abe, when he came first time, the cover-up of Fukushima, to Harvard. Big deal. Of course, he's been here, him and Trump, 4 times on the cover-up of Fukushima. First time he came here, he secretly snuck over to MIT Media Lab. Well, who do you think's got control of all the PhDs? Who decides who gets a PhD and not? Who blackballs him, just like they did me? Blackball me? Go ahead. This is the greatest PhD in human history. So they had 2,700 salmon yesterday. Oh, that's a great number? That's less than fucking 40% of the daily mean. They got 10,000 for the year. They're all gung-ho. They should have over 90,000. So they're gung-ho about it running at 10%. That's Endangered Species Act. We're going to ignore it all. Okay. Dead tide pools, we're going to... All coincidence. This is all coincidence post-Fukushima. Kevin Blanch, the greatest PhD in human history. Bar none. You go along with this winning team. You go right ahead. All of you corruptions, you go right ahead. And if you look at this list of cancer, you tell me. Karma is very real. What's coming out of this volcano? Oh, you think that's all craziness? TEPCO's reported. There's holes. We've got the cameras finally down there. There's holes. It's a reactor. It's burned down through the bottom, into the freaking layers, whatever. Where do you think it goes? Where do you think it comes out? Magnum? Huh. Oh, it's that far away, huh? Oh boy, TikTok. I mean, what a freaking story. Is Trump's passing out more nuclear pork left and right. General Dynamics in San Diego are going to get more. As we're trying to get it off the beach in San Diego, they're bringing in more. New scale right here, Idaho. Oregon State University, the head of the NRC, Oregon State University, Idaho National Lab, testing nuclear weapons at Idaho against state law. Utah, here, bring the reactor here. They don't care. They don't care. So I'll be down at the Jazz game protesting tonight. By the way, I got a hunch, because the Jazz are the worst fans in the world, and I'm an ex-Jazz fan. That season took its first year. Knock phones. I mean, what do they do to these players, these punk-ass kids? I mean, it's outrageous. You're able to, you know, assault athletes like that. It's one thing to cheer and scream and yell for your team, but another thing to get in these guys' faces. I mean, that's outrageous. I will quote Donovan Mitchell himself, because I know him from Brooklyn in the airport, before the season started. I said, do you remember that fan screaming up in that guy's face last year, in Kevin Durant's face? By the way, Charles Barkley making that outrageous statement. I mean, what's the matter with these guys? So, Kevin Durant, he's John with him on the front row, right, sitting next to Spencer Eccles, right there. You know, you can't even take your kids to a game because it's $300-400. It's so abusive. I mean, the whole product. It's not the players. I says, Donovan, you remember him? Yeah. And he went off for about 18 points, and they swept the Jazz. He says, yeah, feed the lion. That's the good thing. Don't feed the lion. Well, if they just fed the lion, I got a hunch James Harden might go for 60 tonight. I think you're going to see record stuff. And by the way, Donovan's a fantastic kid. But it's not the players' fault. You know, what the NBA's done, what culture's done. The average athlete in the United States made less than 3 times the average working-class American in 1975. I mean, I had season tickets the first year Jazz were here, $141 for the year. I'll show you the ticket stubs from the first playoff game in history, courtside, $12. See what they are this year. I'll be down there. I'm going to protest down there. You know, they hate kids. Energy Solutions. By the way, Bobby Sloan died of cancer young. You know, I knew her. I used to sit by her all the time, you know. They're all rolling on the grave, including Larry Miller, Colin Bassett. They're all rolling on the grave. What they've done, it's not the players' fault. You know, it's just greed. It's just sickening greed. You know, go get your $12 hot dogs, your $15 beers. I mean, it's they have beer police down there now. When a beer used to be $1 down there. These tickets, I mean, what they've done. So how can the kids, you know, the kids like basketball, of course. My grandkids are incredible athletes. They love it. Can't go. What do you do? Pay $2 grand to see a game? Something rotten in the new Denmark. Stay tuned. This is a big deal where I'm going to post all these people that died in Hawaii. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You don't think Fukushima is very real in this cover art? You're crazier than hell. Go along with the winning team, this corruption. Go ahead. Stay tuned.